Than Footy. I'm Hayley Faulkner.
And I'm Tom Chadwick. Great to have your company. Hales, huge game this weekend against the Cats on Sunday.
It is, and we've got a bit of history there, and it's going to be a sold-out crowd, I hope. Well, it's certainly going to be packed. I'm very excited.
Yeah, you mentioned the history. Grand final loss. We got beaten badly in Geelong last year, and then the draw. So the recent history is really interesting between the pairs, but hopefully on Sunday, as you mentioned, in front of a massive crowd, we can get the job done.
Absolutely. And look, we're not actually here to talk AFL. We're here to talk AFLW. And joining us today is Lucy McEvoy, Scott Gowans. Thanks so much for joining us.
No problem.
Thanks for having us.
Jeez,
Good to be here.
Up and about, guys. Come on, we need some action here.
Come on, let's go.
So,
Luce is still probably puffing after the 1.5k time trials.
Yeah, well, Scotty told me he was going to join too, and he shook my hand and never did. So he's fresh. He's ready to go. He can do most talking.
That hamstring tendon just played up at the right day.
Yeah, and his ankle and calf and if he didn't have to do it, I wouldn't do it either, Scott.
In fact, I'm
How'd the girls fare? How'd they go?
Yeah, they were good. I think over half the group had a PB, which was nice. And we've put in a solid block over the last 12 weeks, so firing and ready to go.
So, Scotty, just in general, you're happy with the way the girls have come back?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that block of pre-season with the VFLW really helped us. Just laid the foundation. It's probably about half the minutes, if you like, on the track than what we're doing now. It was just enough to get them going, play some games of footy, and then step into this pre-season really strong. So the group's come back very fit and healthy.
Speaking of the 12-week pre-season, I guess, how do you keep the motivation up again with the girls? You know, keep that, I guess, the energy levels up as well, because it is a long lead into the season. Yeah,
it is. It's not difficult when you lose the way we did. That Adelaide game was really disappointing. So I think everyone's come back with the mindset they want to get better. And we made the decision that we wouldn't be able to just do that with a 12-week pre-season. So we said we need a little bit extra. So you'd rather it be structured and programmed so that you can control what we can control. So that was why the pre-season part was actually a little bit less intensity, if you like, and more about bringing the new girls up to speed on where we left off, so that when we can hit last Monday, day one of pre-season, we're able to go forward.
What about you, Luce? How do you go with the motivation of such a long lead-in?
I think it's not, personally, it's probably not hard to find the motivation to want to keep doing it. We're getting paid at a standard now that allows us to put the most into what we want to do here at the club. And as Scotty mentioned, you only have to look back to that Adelaide final that we lost and use that as motivation throughout this year. And we've touched on it a few times throughout pre-season already. And it just adds fuel to the fire. We've all got the common goal of wanting to get better every day, and hopefully that leads us to, ideally, a premiership would be nice, but also to build something that's really sustainable.
Scotty, we've just recently announced a contract extension for yourself. Congratulations.
Woohoo!
Exactly right. What does that mean for you, mate?
Just a little bit of security to plan the next period of time out, the next block of time. I think traditionally at AFLW particularly, the coaches are either 1 year or 2 year extensions. So to get a good extension after this year, which gives me the next 4 seasons, is it just gives me the security and peace of mind to not be, I suppose, hesitant in trying something new and continuing on the path of improvement, both with the coaching group off field and the playing group as well. And I think it's just a recognition from the Swans of just how they treat people as well. Probably in the conversations I had with Tom Harley and Kate Marnie, it was all about, it can never be about money in AFLW, but it can be about the longevity of contract, and it was a show of faith, but it just showed that they were prepared to do that, knowing that we'd moved the family up from Melbourne, and just gives a bit of security, so it's really good.
From when you first started to now, obviously there's been a lot of changes, but when you reflect on your time in the last few years to now, what's been the biggest change?
In AFLW in particular?
Yep.
Yeah, I think the standard of footy. And Lucy, I had coached Lucy when she was in the under-18s, and she was the superstar then, superstar now.
Oh, God, hardly. Knocking myself out back in under 14 days.
But, just the standard of the player. And I think we're probably seeing the first signs of the kids coming into the program as 18-year-olds able to cope physically better, but then also skill-wise, they're probably actually ahead of some of the middle-aged players as well. So the programs, because they've gone through Auskick and come right through and being well coached in right the way through now in the elite programs, the standards starting to pick up.
And without embarrassing Lucy too much more, you've got some exciting news to share regarding the AFLW program.
Yeah, we have. So we've sorted out our captains, and pleased to say that Lucy and Chloe Malloy will be co-captains again this year. So well done, Luce.
Thanks, Scotty.
Very
How does that
exciting.
feel, Luce?
Haven't been dumped yet. It's nice to know.
Did you know that?
Emphasis
by
on
the way?
you.
Yeah, we said it, Monday, I think it was.
Yeah.
It's a really nice honour to have again, I suppose, and to be recognised by the club to be able to keep that for another year and have the trust from them just gives Moy and I the confidence to go out and do what we've been doing with the support of the broader playing group as well.
How do you feel your role with Chloe has gone in the last sort of 12 months, and what can you work on, and what do you think you're thriving on together?
I think it's gone quite well. Most would probably say that we're yin and yang, like we're
That's
completely
fine.
we're completely
it's
different.
Good. It's great.
We balance each other out, we find, and we both know that with each other and in each other. And I've really enjoyed working with Chloe and alongside her and doing it together. I've learnt so much from her as well, in the way she goes about it, and what I can take from her and into my leadership as well has been really beneficial for myself. And it's just continuing to provide each other those opportunities where we can improve. If we notice there's a situation, hey, maybe this is a good one for you to take, just to make sure we continue developing together, I suppose.
Leadership is something that it clearly comes naturally to you because you've been a captain at Geelong Falcons, and obviously captain last year and excitingly captain this year. What do you think makes you that gives you that leadership strengths?
It's a good question. I actually got asked this the other day and I didn't realise. It was about when I was captain at the Falcons, which back then you probably only really flip the coin and give a bit of a rah-rah at the start of the game. And I've probably gone away from that a little bit. I'm not as vocal as probably what I was in my junior days, but I would probably say you'd have to ask the playing group. But I think for me, it's probably leading by example. I'm very much just get it done. I don't want to have to be like, get in the gym, do your extras, do that stuff.
Yeah.
I just kind of expect it. And hopefully from me leading by example, the girls follow. But in saying that, that's a strength of mine where I probably do need to be like, hey, get it together, we need to do this.
Scotty, what about your development as a coach? We've probably got one of the most admired minds in footy in John Longmire here in the building. What's your relationship with him, and do you grab him at when he's making coffee, and do you pick his brain on footy for your own coaching development?
Yeah, without it being structured, we do. It happens organically, particularly when he's 10-1 at the moment. It's a pretty good time to have a chat.
Trust me, mate, we know the moods that John can be in. 10-1's good for us.
Yeah, 10-1's good.
Yeah.
No, but it just happens organically, and he gets in quite early and I get in quite early, and we'll cross each other and just have that 5 minutes chat at a table. And I kind of like it that way. I feel that the other clubs that I've been involved in, it was way more structured than that. But then it doesn't really happen because you both look at your diaries because they're so busy, and there's always something more important than that to take place. So I find the way that it happens here with this new facility, the integration, we're just able to have that, and it might not be for weeks, and then all of a sudden you'll have 3 times in a week. It's so it's kind of nice, and it's not just John, but it's the other assistant coaches as well. They're just great football minds. The boys I don't know that they know how lucky they are with the coaching group they've got. Because there's a lot of great minds in there, and I think it's a bit both ways as well. They ask a lot of questions about W and the differences, and it just creates good chats.
The season, it's 11 games condensed into a shorter time period, which will see, I guess, a 4-day break for the first time in W. What are your thoughts on this condensed fixture?
Well, for me, from a coaching point of view, and you can speak obviously from the playing point of view, but I like it. There's some coaches that don't like it, but I think what it does do, it creates, particularly because we're a younger group, we're always talking about trying to gain momentum, and I think if you win and you can keep that momentum going before that period of time, it's good. But vice versa, if you lose, then you don't have to dwell on it too long. You can get back on the horse and go again. So I think it's from a coaching point of view, it'd be different if we were playing 20 games of footy. I probably wouldn't like it, but I think in a shorter season, it's fine.
What about you, Luce?
Yeah, I agree. I think from a player perspective, it's probably quite similar. I hate having to wait longer than like 5 days till our next game generally, because once you get to the season, it's been so long since we've played already, so that you kind of like, I can't wait for next week already. So I like the fact that there's the 4-day break and there's some shorter breaks in there, which I'm still young, which is nice. So my body hopefully holds up, touch wood, but I think it benefits us as a group as a whole too.
Well, this is probably a question for both of you then. It's fair to say last year, from the outer, the Swans probably exceeded expectations by not only making the finals but winning a final. How do we go one better?
Well, I think the big thing for me is just the volume of training. And it shone out against Adelaide when we played Brisbane that they've had 7-8 pre-seasons. And you've got to remember, before 2017, they also played exhibition games. So they had another 2 or 3 years of exhibition games. And a core group of them were together then. So it's really just putting size and be able to cope with the contested ball and just that repeated running efforts and things like that. So against Brisbane, we had our opportunities to hang on there for a while, but then it sort of dipped. Against Adelaide, they completely destroyed us, really, to be honest. And but the physicality and the ability to repeat and stay and gain momentum, lose it, gain it back, I think that's where the difference is, and hopefully we can pick up that this year. That's where we think the growth will come from.
Is it also a bit of continuity, having those sort of 10 to 15 core players maybe playing for 3 or 4 years together, Lucy?
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it proves how important the 12-week pre-season block that we have together becomes, because we know a lot of the other clubs aren't doing that, and talking to other players, like, well, why are you guys playing games? And well, for that reason, we want to get that continuity together as a group and have that level of understanding of how each other play on the field, so that when it does come to the W season, we've been there, done that, and we're not playing catch up in that sense. And then it's just, you can pick your deficiencies, I suppose, in that period, and then use pre-season to really pinpoint them and get them up to scratch, so we can hit the ground running from round one.
Speaking of round one, we're up against Collingwood. We want to see our fans turn out in droves, and I think the first year we held our membership was the highest tally
AFLW, correct?
In AFLW. We've dropped off a little bit. How do we get those fans back at the games?
Lucy, how do we get them back?
Oh, well, we're going to be playing some pretty exciting footy, I reckon. So if you're not part of it, you're going to miss out and you're going to be sorely disappointed. So
love that.
I'd be signing up.
The experience at Henson is
it is unbelievable.
fantastic.
It is.
The picnics on the hills and the atmosphere is awesome.
Cheese boards,
Face painting.
craft beers.
Tom's often at the face painting.
Correct.
Are dogs allowed?
No, sadly not. But they should be. You can't risk the feral interactions with the dogs that don't know what they're doing.
Feral interactions.
Some people just don't train their dogs. Exhibit A.
Wilson, he's trained. He's pretty good.
But if he sees a yellow ball, he's off.
Yeah. And imagine a dog running on the field and be like Plugger and the pig again. Just can't have that. What about you, Scotty? How do we get those fans back to the games?
I think just I like being honest about where we're at and selling the story. And I think anyone that follows sport, they want to be involved in something. And if you can, the more you can have the fans involved in what we're doing and be open about it, for good or bad, I think they feel part of a journey. And we dropped down to third, I think, in the AFLW memberships last year,
bad.
Which isn't bad, but it's not one. So we want to get back to number one. Yeah. And if we can get everyone on board and if you get on the journey early, what happens is then you become part of it because you're invested in it, and then you're able to take, to ride it, the whole story out throughout the year. And we're pretty confident that we'll be all right. So I think it's, as you say, Henson, North Sydney Oval, round one will be amazing. Great opportunity to open the season, and Friday night footy, so that'll be really exciting. And then we get a game at Coffs Harbour, so hopefully there's a whole bunch of new members up that way as well that can come along to Coffs.
Just before we wrap up, Luce, what is your goal, your personal goal for pre-season? We've got 10 to 12 weeks of hard work in front of you. What's the main thing that you want to work on before round one?
452 in what?
1.5.
Oh, that's Olympic
That was
level.
public.
Wow.
Public reveal of the time.
That's quicker than Laura Gardner. My goal is to chase her around all pre-season, to be honest.
You'll get fitter, let's be honest.
Well, exactly. But for me, it's to put together a bit of a consistent block of training, had a bit of a mishap 12 weeks ago, so missed the games that we played, unfortunately. But if I can string this together and do the small things right, hopefully leads into the season and get some consistent footy going there.
Well, certainly looking forward to opening round. It can't come soon enough. Thank you, Scotty. Thank you, Luce, for your time.
Thanks,
All the best
guys.
for
Thank
pre-season,
you.
hey?
Bring it on.
Good luck.
Swans.
Go Swannies.